Hello, Frank. What's up?
Dude, that was a great intro. Hello, Frank.
I might switch it up.
Dude, you threw me for a loop, man. You knocked me off my game.
Gone.
I've
reached the point of the year, so like this year, I've basically done, I don't know if you've noticed, I've basically done like a show a day, sometimes 2 or 3 shows, and then mixed in videos with it, the CTL deal, everything. I'll tell you what, I'm like 2.5 months or 2.25 months in now. Pat McAfee is an absolute beast for what he does. He does like a 4-hour produced show every single morning, then does all the college game day stuff.
That's
like, I don't know how he does it. Like, I was feeling rough this morning. Plus, I somehow am out of right contacts, not left contacts, so I have to go back and pick up contacts for my doctor afterwards. How do I have 20 left contacts, no right contacts?
How do you lose a sock in the dryer? Same principle.
It's a valid question, a valid point. We got a really good show today. We have a brand new color. We have located the diaries of Frank Scalish from a quarter century ago.
Not personal diaries, because I don't have one.
The year is 2022. Frank Scalish is on the precipice of fishing in his first Bassmaster Classic. And we have all of the blog entry posts from day one of Classic all the way through the end of the Classic. And we're going to dive into them because
it's Classic time.
It's Bassmaster Classic week.
That's right.
Frank, hit him with the times. Do you have that pulled up? We were bloviating for 30 minutes, and I forgot to tell you to have those times pulled up when we will be at the LureNet/Pradco booth at the Bassmaster Classic on Friday and Saturday. I do have confirmation that the brand new, never before seen limited edition BTL koozies will be given out to the first 25 people in line to shake hands with Frank Scalish on both Friday and Saturday at the Classic.
Okay, so I do have the times. All right. Friday, 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Saturday, 1:30 to 3.
That will be up on our social medias. Come by. I believe it's a pretty cool thing that Pradco found in the archives. There's not a whole ton of them, but I think you just keep it a mystery until the dang giveaway.
Yeah, we're keeping it a mystery because I'll be honest with you, it was a surprise to me. And I'm like, you have those? And they're like, yeah. I go, bring them, because we are doing it. We're doing it. We're signing them.
I'm going to make a banner here. That would be Friday. You can meet Frank Scalish on Friday the 13th.
Oh, my gosh. It's Friday the 13th.
At 4:32.
Nope, 4 p.m.
I would hope so.
Let's double check. This makes me dizzy scrolling through my phone.
Is it the Pradco booth or the LureNet booth?
It'll probably be the Pradco booth. That's Friday, 4 p.m. to 5:30, and then Saturday, 1:30 to 3.
March 14th, 1:30 to 3. And I will put PM there, just to clear it off, clear it up.
Hey, you want to see something cool? Since we're just doing nothing.
What's that?
Here's my son, Noah. He's a fireman in Raleigh.
Holy smoke. Did they set that to train them?
No, this is for real.
Oh,
that's Noah on the roof right there.
Holy smokes, literally.
Oops, wait a minute. Whoa.
That's got to make you proud.
Oh, yeah. Where the heck? Why?
I know. It's the opposite. There you go. Cutting a hole in the roof, yep. With a little ventilation so the smoke can get out so they can get in there and put her out.
Look at this. Come on, this has to come in here. Hold on.
That is the definition of a badass photo.
Yeah.
Look at that with the axes and.
So yeah, so they cut the hole in the roof, and then to let all the pressure out of the building so it doesn't go kafoosh. So yeah, so he got me live action.
Live action. Very cool, Frank. All right. Well, I'll do the show and tell then real quick, and then we'll get into the drop because the drop is live on LureNet right now. I've talked about it before. I've talked with you about it. It looks like you'll have open water next week. The Fishing Chaos BTL benefiting St. Jude tournament is live. There's over 125 people that are registered right now. If you're watching this, listen to this. If you're going to fish between now and April 15th, $25 donation. You measure your 5 longest fish, and boom, you win prizes from BTL. I'll show you how it is because I was very I was nervous about it. I wanted people to sign up. So there's the Fishing Chaos. You go into the tournaments, you scroll over to the BTL Nationwide Bass Challenge. There's all the stuff. You can sign up whenever you want. But look at this. There's already people like the Northern region, Marty Hughes. He already has a 20.7. It's funny, the Northern regions, everyone's hands are like freaking red or in gloves.
Yeah.
This 20.75, 17, 16, 15. He's only measured 4. You can see there. Look at that smallmouth that Frank Mullins weighed in right there. That's a nice smallie. Look at that. Look at the size of that smallie. That is a 20.5-inch smallmouth bass. Oh, how big do you think that is? How long was it? 20.5 inches. Now, mind you, I put one on the board 2 days ago that was 21.5-inch largemouth, and it weighed 7.4. Yeah, that's probably a 6-pounder or a 5-pounder. It's got it, dude. That looks like a 6-pound smallmouth all day. 20.5-inch smallmouth. Yeah, look at the girth on it. Look at how wide it is. Now, here's the sad part. Okay, that's a great bass. That is a great freaking bass. But can you win it on small? Oh, look at that. Can you win it on smallmouth? You know what I mean? Yeah, you might be able to. Now, you could also catch a really skinny pre-spawn smallmouth that's 22.5 inches long and weighs 4, so it kind of evens out. Anyway, that's the Northern Division there. The Southern Division, 103 inches already. Colton has a 23.75, but then you see some spotted bass. That looks like a Northern strain right there. But the cool thing is you can go in and you can see what everyone's doing. Whatever. There's mine right there. I'm 12th. I've weighed in 1 fish, 21. Like, that's a 7.4, and look how it looks compared to that smallmouth that was only an inch less. Holy smokes. So if you can see it, you have like your code there, and you just put it, and then you upload it. And then the big 3, Parker Mott. There's a bunch of guys who are fishing multiple. The crazy one is Dalton Albright. There he is. He's already weighed in a 27-incher. Tom Brubaker from Fishing Chaos called, talked to him, confirmed it. He said it was about an 11-pounder. But the good thing is once he wins the big fish, which ends on the 7th, that resets. So now everybody has a chance to go out and catch the longest fish for the next week. And he could only win it 1 week. Oh, okay. $25 gift code from AFCO on there. But like, that's not a bad one either. No, God. There's already been a 27, a 26, a 23. Like that one I weighed in's only the 8th biggest, and the thing's only been open for 5 days. Wow. So if you guys have any questions, 100% of the proceeds go to benefiting St. Jude. We're already over $3,000. The goal is to get to $10,000. Frank, I know Frankie is fishing in it. He's got some hats. Juice has some jigs. They're giving that away. I know you're going to sign up for this tournament as well. Once things open up, you're going to get all of April to add some fish on there. So you can fish against Frank Scalish in the Northern region. I hope so. It should open up by the time this sucks because here's what sucks. Last year I missed ice out because of the Classic. This year I'm going to miss ice out because of the Classic. You don't think it's thick enough to where there's a chance that you might go to the Classic, I'm hoping, not have cabin fever, and then as soon as you get back from the Classic, it'll be open when I get back. That's what I mean. It'll be open, so it'll actually it'll be open. Work. But I like to be there when there's still ice on the water in places. That's my favorite time. And same thing in the winter. I like fishing in the winter when you got to crack ice to go. Yeah. Yeah, we've noticed that. So one of the listeners sent, so remember I was talking about the boat last week where it would be nice if you had a boat that you could just drive over the ice to get to the open water. I had a listener. Let's see if I can find it. I've got all sorts of. Okay, so I had a listener that sent me this and said, I think this is what you were talking about with Frank.
The guy's got a saw blade on the back of it.
Yeah, and then boom, you get to the open water, you just drop her in, and then I guess you have to kind of paddle it. But they had multiple.
That's so funny.
They had multiple on that. That was Johnny Nunez who sent that to me. He said, great. I believe this is what you were talking about. And guess what? I responded, 100%.
Outstanding.
All right, we got a new color, Frank.
Yeah, so Purple Heart is out there right now. It's in a I believe it's in a Super Zara Spook. This is a Super Spook Junior, but I think the real color, the one that's released, is in a Super Zara Spook, and so this color represents a gizzard shad, as Matt pointed out last show. But what I wanted to talk about is gizzard shad take on a purple hue at certain times. It usually happens when they're stressed. It could also be caused by feeding behavior, spawning activity, or even cold water can trigger this purple hue. It's really cool. The unique characteristic about this color is the transparency in the bait will reflect the purple through the bait as you're walking the dog and the bait's pitching and rolling. So this color had some design scheme behind it. I chose a very odd looking false eye spot on it because I thought it would be really cool. And there's sometimes in nature where they have like, I forget what it's called, but it happens like it with albino deer and albino fish. There's a pigmentation.
Piebald.
Yeah, there's a pigmentation problem.
Mm-hmm. Either vitiligo or piebald is the word I believe you're looking for.
You are a genius, Matt.
Oh no, that's you, Frank.
And so at any rate, I thought it would be really cool to add that on. And so that's what we did. That's how we came to this color. Now, real quick, it does have a tail feather on it, which is outstanding. They're tied very sparsely. They're not heavy ties.
Mm-hmm. And you shake it. You shake your tail feather.
I shake my tail, baby. And so let's talk about the Zara Spook for a minute. I love fishing this topwater during the shad spawn, near any objects, whether they're man-made, grass, wood, rock, whatever. The Super Zara Spook's a fantastic search bait during the post-spawn period. The post-spawn period is probably one of my favorite times to fish these baits. The one key point that you have to remember during the post-spawn is how you're going to find these fish. So what I do during the post-spawn is I'm going to work from the spawning areas out because I don't know how far these fish got out yet. Post-spawn, they're moving towards summer pattern. So I'm going to fish from in to out. And it's always going to be predicated around where the main spawning areas are, because that's just going to put more fish, more fish in your reach. And then you could do it. You could run small isolated points with this, but the small isolated points will only have usually, 1 to 4 spawners on each inside turn of the point. Where if you're on bigger flats where more fish are spawning, you're in front of way more bass. To prove a point, I was doing a show with the Super Spook Junior, and my buddy, my cameraman Joe, we had a topwater day that was probably 2 in a row. We did it 2 days in a row where we caught over 80 bass every day just throwing spooks. It was absolutely the best topwater day I've ever had in my life. And here's the crazy thing. It didn't matter what time it was. We caught them from the minute we launched the boat to the minute we took the boat off the water. It was the most spectacular ever. But
that's a hell of a photo right there.
That's a great photo.
I just had an idea. So I see Scott is back on, and he said, been away on vacation. We'll update day 4 index soon. We need to do a show because Scott Turdo is amazing at keeping up to date in the 235 shows that we've done. Everything good?
Yeah, it's a buddy of mine. He went on LureNet and saw my picture with the spook, and he's teasing me right now.
Oh. And I think we bring Scott on the show and we do a best of day 4 where we go over some of your greatest hits and then bring him on for the hard work that he's done, where he has the index and can help us reference the shows.
Dude, that's money.
Yeah.
That's money. Yes. Yeah. We're doing that.
Yeah. After the classic.
Yes, we're doing that. That is so money. I love it. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, 100%.
That would be okay. So that is the LureNet drop for this month. Limited edition, I think. Limited edition on that. Use code capital BTL 25 still.
Yes.
15% off regularly priced items. You get the things for less than $10 a piece. Save some, fish some.
Yeah, I have a confession to make. I got on before we went live and bought a bunch.
I know. I need to get a couple. So this is,
dude, you love that color.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting some of those colors. He says here, he said, I ordered 6, 1 for the collection, 1 for eBay, and 4 to fish with.
Smart guy right there.
If you're fishing with four of them, you either live in an area with northern pike, you're casting to fence rows that you cannot reach, or you need to change your braid.
Yeah, chicken wire. Remember, you know how sometimes they wrap the riprap in chicken wire?
Yeah.
Dude, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, 100%. There was a fence row on Lake Thunderbird, and it was in the back of a pocket that was about 1.5 feet deep, but there was a trend. So this fence went literally across the cove, and it was like 1.5 feet flat. But then when you got to the fence, they had I guess it was dug out or so it dropped off to 2.5 feet.
So it's like a drainage ditch.
It was like a drainage ditch, but there was a fence, and it had wire fence that went across the whole thing. It was old. It was probably 50 years old, but not 50-60% of the time you're fishing it, those fish would be in the depression and they would eat either a buzz bait or a walking bait, but you had to put it right on the fence, and it was one of the first 2 twitches. About every 3rd week, I would stick a frickin' Zara spook in that fence and couldn't get up there in the Wednesday nighter to get it back.
Did you go after the tournament and go, you couldn't reach it?
I couldn't get there.
Yeah, you couldn't.
It was out in the water. So then what guys would do is they would bring their waders, and then they would pluck all the lures off of the fence. So I never got any of them back. But I'm talking Boogerman buzz baits, Reaction Innovation buzz baits, Zara spooks, stuff that you plan on using for the next 3 to 5 years of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Baits that you don't.
Yeah, he says he cracks them on his boat with the roll cast.
Yeah, I've done.
There's nothing worse than taking a wiggle wart or a custom painted spook and then roll cast it over the front and just smoking it off the head of your trolling motor.
Oh yeah, dude. Golly, that is so aggravating, man. Especially when they're, like you said, the original wart that you can't get anymore. Especially when it's a lure like that. My custom painted baits drive me crazy because I paint a lot for myself. And then I'll go to a lake and it'll be full of pike or muskies. And then you could I've literally gone through 4-on-4 casts, and it's just man. So
the other thing that's worse is when I fish with Juice, who has these gorgeous hand-tied hair jigs now.
Yeah.
And you're with him in the boat, and you know that he hand-tied this, and he hooks me up with them, and you're trying to tickle a deep brush pile with light line on them, and then you snag one, you bury one in the brush pile.
Oh, yeah.
And he's there. He made it. He created it. So you instantly feel bad. And you end up spending 10 times longer than you normally would trying to get it back to show him that you appreciate the work of art that he did.
Right.
Whereas if he wasn't in the boat, you'd be like, yeah, I don't want to ruin that brush pile. Pop. And then you just tie on another one.
Yeah, there's a little difference when you're with the creator. Like, you gotta have something. You gotta show something.
6.5 hours to tie this hair jig and skip my son's t-ball practice, and 2 casts later, it's buried 15 feet deep in a cedar.
Yeah, and you're diligently trying to tweak it out. Yeah. You can't get it out. Where if you were by yourself, you'd have just went. That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to buy 2 minimum. Nothing worse than smoking bass on a particular lure, and then it breaks off and you don't have another one.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I was in a Bassmaster event, and I was catching them on a Norman Deep Little N in lavender shad, and I didn't think about it. I usually have 3 in the boat and then 3 backups in the vehicle, and didn't think about it. I was down to my last one. The last day of practice, I was down to my last one. Got off the water, fish kind of lake, got off the water, went to the truck, opened it up. I had none in the truck. I'm like, what the hell? I have 100 of these things at home. How did I not replace the ones in my vehicle? And then started running to tackle shops all around the lake. It was on Kerr Reservoir. Nobody had them. They were out of them. And I was like, oh my God, I hit the tournament with 1. And I was literally, it was like the only color I can consistently get a bite on. And I made a cast on this one deep brush pile, caught one right away, bow flipped them, threw them in the live well, made another cast, snagged the brush pile, couldn't get it out, dropped the plug knockers down there, couldn't get it out, shook it. All of a sudden, boink, my line breaks. And I have no more, and it's the first day of the tournament. Actually, it was the first hour and a half of the first day of the tournament. And needless to say, my crankbait bite didn't work out for me.
Yeah, there's a good chance, too, if you order that, you can actually bring them to the Classic and have Frank sell them, or sign them. Yeah. Be there. But we will have a mystery bait. Yes. Very limited quantities of it. I know in the past they've done special runs. They did not do a special run. They found a special run in the archives at LureNet there. So if you're planning on being at the Bassmaster Classic Friday evening, we try to do it as late as possible so you could put in 3/4 of a day at work and then leave for a family emergency. Wink, wink. Yeah, exactly. And then Saturday, prime time, middle of the afternoon there, you can go, and then you can go watch the weigh-in on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it Friday when I got half of them left. I'm cutting it, so we'll have them for Saturday too.
Yep. One of my most favorite days of the year is the meet and greet in the Pradco booth at the Bassmaster Classic. It is really cool. We get to put faces to names and handles. Get to meet new people, and there's always some really cool stories that come out of that. Just good people that love bass fishing, and really, at least for me, speaking myself, Frank, really kind of rejuvenates me for the rest of the year. Getting to meet the listeners and viewers of Day 4.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. It's nice to meet the guys. It's nice to meet you guys. You know, we do this a lot, and we see your name and everything up there in your comments, and it's pretty cool to put a face to it. It really is.
Are you doing a Hall of Fame bait this year?
Oh yeah.
Will those be on display at the?
Not at the Classic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing Hall of Fame baits. They're done. I painted them a long time ago.
Next Bass Draft drops this morning. We actually filmed it late last night, and it is an absolute doozy.
Outstanding.
So I was scrolling last week, and I didn't mention it. I found your daily Classic diaries from the 2002 Bassmaster Classic, and that is one of the badass things about technology. And we're actually at a day and age now where we can go back a quarter century, and it's kind of like a time capsule.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I had ESPN purchases Bassmasters. I had started doing blogs for Bassmasters. To be honest with you, I don't know how many I did, of quite a few. There was a couple other guys doing blogs too, and I had read some of their blogs, and a lot of them it was all about, I took my family to the zoo and my son saw a monkey and blah blah blah, and I'm like, that is not what I'm doing. I am not blogging like that. So I took these crazy wild topics and I did these blogs. Like I did one, slower traffic, stay right, which clearly,
I've been over some of those.
Yeah, clearly addressed my road rage issues. I did blogs about really personal stuff, like just what you feel, what you go through. None of my blogs were like, I didn't really do fishing blogs, and I found them in 7 feet of water and they were hitting it on the fall. I didn't do stuff like that. I did like meat and potato stuff, like real stuff. So I did that, and I completely forgot about the classic one. So this is like I have almost no recollection of what
I know, and we intentionally didn't go over it.
No. So I have no idea what we're about to
shout out to Bassmaster for doing this. So this is like the 2002 Bassmaster Classic. This is the one that
go ahead. Didn't Darcy Egan write these?
I don't know. But here's Scalish day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. So as we get into it, set the scene. First classic. There's a bunch of guys. You got Fisher. You got a bunch of young guys. It's their first Bassmaster Classic here. There's quite a few rookies, young guys in it. You were more established by the time you had reached your first classic. But
actually it was my rookie season.
I know, but age-wise, you weren't like 20.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I was.
Like you had experienced life.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've experienced a few challenges.
You had avoided law enforcement after chopping down historic trees for Christmas. Yeah, you had done all sorts of stuff by then.
Is the next shirt going to be a shadow, a shadowy figure with
Douglas fir falling?
With a BTL shirt and a tree draped over my shoulder.
Merry Christmas.
It says Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Oh my gosh.
That's fantastic.
We have
just you on a golf course, just dragging a tree off down the 18th green.
The shirt is all. Listen, I have it right here. The shirt is all black. Mm-hmm. The figure is just gray. It's a silhouette
with a mullet.
And you can faintly see the BTL logo on the shirt, and this black pine tree on dragging on the ground because the thing was too long, and it's dragging on the ground, and that's the shirt. Oh my God, is that funny? Merry Christmas.
Like a couple months later when that alleged course opened up again, there was some guy that had just snapped, like that tree was probably just his arch nemesis, and for the last 20 years it had cost him so many member guests, and he stands up on the freaking tees and goes, thank God, because it's just a stump.
Right, I got a clear shot at the green.
And you know that all his buddies are convinced that he's the one who did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just put a top flight right into the freaking trunk every time he stepped up.
Oh my gosh. We have definitely taken a spin here. We've spun out.
We're going to go through all 6 of these days. I have not read these. I have just perused them.
I have no clue.
So I don't know what we're getting into.
Yeah, I don't either.
How do you want to do this? Would you like me to kind of narrate it, and then you can stop and explain the backstory with it, and at the end you'll kind of get an idea what Classic Week is like?
Yeah, if necessary. I'm good with that.
Day 1, Scalish Classic Daily Diary.
Oh my gosh.
Frank Scalish, 2002 Classic Daily Diary.
This is so incredible.
The Triton Dude, I had one of those when we fished for OU in 2007. The V Triton jersey.
Yeah, that was my rookie shirt, man.
The bass patch actually sewn on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yes. Darcy Egan wrote it.
Okay, good. Good for Darcy, man.
Do you want me to read this? Like, I mean,
yeah, I can.
I mean, this also is like a podcast deal, so I don't want to like take it over, but I guess I'll just start reading it.
Yeah, because I can't even see my screen.
It might take more than an hour. It says, Rachel Scalish walked through the door of the Sheridan Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama on Monday morning and was overwhelmed by the size of her husband's dream and the scope of the 32nd annual Citgo Bassmasters Classic.
Yeah, the funniest thing in the world. We pull into the Sheridan in Birmingham, and we pull into the front. I got truck and boat in tow, and there's billions of people out there. We pull out, we get out. They come grab the luggage. There's news media there taking pictures. And you got to remember, this is my first one, guys. I have no idea what to expect. And so far, I'm a little overwhelmed. And we walk into the doors, we open, we walk in, and there's a giant sign, welcome, Bassmaster Classic qualifiers. And there's people are coming up with microphones, and they want, sound bites and everything else. And Rachel's just looking around, and her eyes are like the size of silver dollars. And I turn around without even missing a beat, and I just look at her and I go, they're all like this. And you got to remember, that was the first tournament she's ever been to. She's never been to a tournament in her life.
I mean, you walk in on that inside, like I'm sure outside you were calm, cool, and collected, but inside there had to be a million emotions going through your head. And you were probably just going, play it cool, act like you've been here before.
100%. There we go. Absolutely. So
Frank Scalish of Cleveland is making his classic debut, finishing 30th in his first season on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour. Although he has fished in bass tournaments since his college days at Ohio State University.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You went to OSU?
Oh, yeah. The Ohio State.
How did I not know this, Frank?
I don't know. I do not know that.
Scalish finally committed himself to becoming a full-time tournament pro 2 years ago. It's something that he has wanted all of his life, said Rachel Scalish, a municipal attorney for the city of Cleveland. Some people have told me how wonderful I am to let him head out on the trail and spend 150 days a year away from home. But you want those you love to be happy, and it was a matter of do it now or forget it.
Ooh, I'm going to have to read that back to her.
Like, do you remember the conversation of, hey, I'm going to go do this?
I know exactly where it was.
I mean, you may not have told her that. It probably, based on this, seemed like a very healthy discussion in which she actually pushed you a little bit.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. This is emotional. Yeah, I know exactly where I was, and you guys aren't going to, we were at my father's funeral, and my father had always wanted to open up this elk ranch and all this crap, and he never did. And we kept saying, what are you waiting on? And he says, it's just not the right time. It's just not the right time. And at 59 years old, he died of a heart attack, and we were sitting in the funeral, and I was sitting there, and a lot of shit was going through my head. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? This is going to be a huge sacrifice, but I'm going to see if I can make it on the pro tour. I said, I can't wait anymore. I'm 38 or 39 years old. I can't wait anymore. And if I wait for the right time, I'll be like my father, and I'm not going to be that. And so that's really when the discussion came down, and we honestly didn't talk about it much after that, because she knew that's what I was doing. I had a small advertising agency. I had probably 32 clients that I worked for. And I just told her, I said, I'm going to try to qualify for the elites. But back then it wasn't the elites. I think
top 150, the Citgo Bassmaster.
Yeah, top 150.
Yeah. You're about my age when this all went down then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And so I said, you know what? I said, I'm not giving up the ad agency. I'm not giving up the ad agency yet. I said, I'm just going to keep trying to do as much as I can until, because what if I don't make it? You know what I mean? What if I don't qualify? And so that first season in the opens, I flipping qualified. And then I had a decision to make, and I had to get rid of my clients. I had to let my clients go. And it was very scary because we had a house full of kids, bills out the ass. And here I am about to chuck everything I got and go do this, because at the time, my sponsor dollars were very limited. Like, they were very limited and almost non-existent, to be honest with you. And so that's how it started.
Rachel Scalish knew that the Sitco Bassmasters Classic was a big deal. I just didn't realize how big until we walked in the hotel, she said, still wide-eyed after meeting many of the top stars of bass fishing. Frank has been to the Classic as a spectator, but this was my first bass fishing tournament of any kind, so it's kind of overwhelming. Scalish, 41, you were literally my age. I'm 41 right now, Frank. Yep. Owns a marketing and advertising company in Cleveland. He has dominated smaller tournament trails around Ohio and the Midwest and is showing that he is ready to compete with America's top bass anglers. The trip to Birmingham started out very well for Rachel and Frank Scalish. This is the first time Frank and I have had a week away from the children, she said. The trip to Cleveland to Birmingham was like a honeymoon. The last time we had a weekend alone, I was pregnant with our second child.
That's why I finished almost dead last in that one.
This is so cool.
It's so
Scalish just have 4 children. Frank, 12, Noah, 6, Rosie, 3, and Joshua, 15 months. Young Frank is already a regular in his father's bass boat.
Oh, yeah.
God, this just is full circle because we just had Frankie on.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago on the BTL at night, where he is now chasing the same dream that you chased back in 2000.
And almost the same age. He's younger than I was when I started it. But
way better beard than you had, though.
Yeah, I don't do facial hair.
He does.
Yes,
in a big way. He's one of those guys where if he gets in a bar fight, you got to hit him 3 or 4 times just to mat it down enough to find the jaw.
Right, just to get some of the cushion away so you can knock him out.
Oh man, you want me to keep going? I'm all in on this. I think
I'm all in on it.
Are all in too. I mean, it might take a second, but I mean, it's like an audiobook.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm not good at reading, but we'll see.
You're doing great, dude.
On the drive down, we stayed in Little Columbia, Tennessee. Had a few. I know this is so true because had a few drinks and ate alligator bites, she said.
Yeah.
But the closer to Birmingham we got, the quieter Frank became. I don't know how he approaches a tournament since I've never been to one. He's been getting quieter and very serious. He's counting on me to keep him on schedule so he can focus on the fishing.
That's so true. That classic there was one of the last classics where Bassmasters gave you an itinerary, and every minute of your day you had to be somewhere. We had pre-practice before the event occurred. I don't know how many months prior. When we got to the venue, we only had a day and a half of practice, and basically it was to do a dry run through the weigh-in to make sure everything worked, is what it was. So you had 0 time to fish. Like, you had very, very, very limited time, and I couldn't use my boat, so I had to gear down tackle to use one of their boats, which frustrated me immensely because when I pre-fished out of my boat. My boat was fairly quick, and I could run from dam to dam several times in the course of the day. Anyway, go ahead. That was just a
thing. We're good. We're on to day 2. The Cleveland, Ohio bass fisherman put his honey holes on ice during a steamy day on the water. The spots where he had found good concentrations of largemouth and spotted bass during last month's pre-practice were too valuable to even test tossing in a lure. So you went down a month prior and obviously had a pretty stellar pre-practice for your first classic.
Yeah. I did.
Okay, we won't dive into that.
No.
Instead, Scalish cruised similar structure to make sure his fishing pattern was still alive. I mean, this is what you talk about on day 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or day 4. This is day 2 of the Classic blog.
I think he's going to write about the writers tournament. So here's what they did. Or should I let you read?
It goes into it.
Okay, so
instead, Scalish cruised similar structure to make sure his fishing pattern was still alive and hopefully allow his media partner to hook a fish in the Bassmaster Celebrity Tournament. Both tasks were successful. I don't want to catch a fish that could be important when the tournament begins, said Scalish, but I'm really on edge, hoping all those places that I found last month are still holding good concentrations of bass. Since I was his media partner, I being Darcy Egan.
Correct.
Finding a new spot with a few hefty bass seemed to be a first-rate idea. Flipping a brush pile that wasn't in Scalish's game plan, a couple of spotted bass, and a 3-pound, 10-ounce largemouth were hooked. The largemouth bass was big enough to garner second place in the celebrity event. So basically, Bassmaster has done away with this, but there was a time in the Bassmaster Classic when media observers, and Ray Scott did this in order to get press to the Bassmaster Classic to cover it, but no press guy said, I'm going to come to a fishing tournament and not fish, because they were all outdoor riders at the time. So Ray Scott covered their expenses to the Bassmaster Classic and then told the press or media observers their jobs were 2 things. 1, you're basically serving as a marshal or referee. You're making sure everything is above board on the water. And 2, you can fish behind your guy in the Bassmaster Classic during the Bassmaster Classic. So for the first 20, 30 years of the Bassmaster Classic, the media observer, the press writer, was fishing while the guy was trying to win the Bassmaster Classic, and they had their own tournament. It had then morphed into this where there was a media tournament beforehand, and then you didn't fish on it. Now the Celebrity Pro-Am is completely separate, and now everyone's in their boat by themselves because of there's so much media. You don't have to like kind of say, give them anything to come.
Right. And so here's the thing. So they used the media tournament the day before to dry run the weigh in.
Yep.
So we had to pull the boats out exactly how we were going to do it during the Classic. That media event, everything was exactly how it was going to be run through.
They still do that. They do that on Wednesday before the Classic now.
Yeah.
Casey Ashley actually missed his check-in time during the official practice day, the dry run, and had to sit in the penalty box at Hartwell in the Classic that he won for the first 45 minutes because he was late to the practice day check-in.
What? Wow.
Yeah, true story.
Wow.
There are some spots out here that have some small fish and others seem to attract big fish, said Scalish, feeling more confident about his Classic chances. There are also spots that are holding lots of fish. Then there are my favorites, which are the spots with lots of big fish, Scalish said with a laugh. The odds are against catching a string of lunker bass on Lay Lake. The sizzling days and water temperature that threaten to soar into the 90s are making the fishing difficult. This was back when the Classic was in the summer. A full moon will encourage bass to feed more heavily after dark. Scalish is confident his spots are still holding some big bass and that he can catch them. There's plenty of pressure, but I've faced pressure-filled situations before, he said. I've got a good game plan, and I'll be ready to go Thursday morning. So you sounded pretty dialed in. This was an August Classic. You went in July, and the fish, based on your practice, still seemed to be there.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, there is a problem with the July-August transition, but we'll see that later, probably in the diaries.
All right, day 3. The business of bass fishing never ends for a successful tournament angler, especially when you've qualified for the 32nd Sitco Bassmaster Classic. All of my sponsors expect me to appear at their exhibits at the Classic Outdoor Expo show, and I am thrilled to be there, said Scalish. This is my first trip to the big show, and that is a welcome part of the business of fishing. Scalish is sponsored by Pradco, Triton Boats, and Yamaha Motors, as well as a hometown tackle shop, a rod maker shop in Strongville, Ohio. Those sponsors allow him to tour the country last year, his first year in the prestigious Sitco Bassmaster Tour. So, your sponsors were pumped that you were in the Classic.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And did you feel that pressure?
I the sponsor pressure never got to me, to be honest with you. It was how many days do I have to give up is what the pressure was. And when I say give up, I mean, how many days do I have to take myself out of focusing on the fishing part of it to focus on the sponsor part of it? Because in my world at that time, advancing farther in the career, I needed real sponsor money. And so I was worried about it because it was tight. Like, I'll be honest with you, the first year was brutal for us financially. I mean, we made sacrifices that I can't believe that I put my family through. To be straight with you, it was not a very responsible adult-like move, except that if you want to do this game, you got to commit to the game. And when I said I was going to do it, I committed to the game. And so that was it. You know,
Frank is a good fisherman and a good spokesman for Triton Boats, said owner Earl Bentz. We are glad to have him on our team. Like the Earl Bentz.
Yeah.
Giving you some flowers there, Frank.
Oh, dude, a little pat on the back.
Yeah. Scalish, who has an advertising and marketing firm, knows the value of promotion. Like a veteran pro angler, he arrived in Birmingham with what he thought would be plenty of trading cards that he could sign for fishing fans. It is at this point that I would like to put a bounty out for any 2002 Frank Scalish signature trading cards.
Yeah.
If anybody has them, knows them, can get their hands on them, I would like to have one of those on the wall in a frame. And I'm willing to pay. Do you have any?
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Why have those never shown up on BTL before?
Because I'm a humble man.
It's still humble if I ask you to possibly bring some said trading cards to the show just to show them off. The 2001 Frank Scalish limited edition signed trading cards.
Yeah, I have to go through some boxes to make sure I have them still. I'm sure I do.
Not enough to fund the next 3 opens, Frankie. He asked how much.
Leave it to Junior. That boy.
I was astounded by the huge crowd of youngsters at Oak Mountain State Park for the Bassmaster Kids Classic event, said Scalish on Wednesday. I had a fishing cap filled with cards, at least 400 of them. Before I knew it, they were gone. At a press luncheon would be next, followed by an hour-long interview session with writers and broadcasters from around the country. After a short nap, it was time to head to the Classic Outdoor Expo show for a special preview for the media, spending time at each of his sponsors' exhibits. It's fun chatting with the fans and representing my sponsor, said Scalish. I know it's all part of being a full-time touring fisherman. This is what I have always wanted to do since I was a young guy, casting against my buddies to see who could catch the largest bass. We're about halfway through.
This is wild, dude. You're bringing me to a place, man.
Are we ready for day 4?
Do what you got to do, man. Hey, day 4.
Wow. This is the original day 4. Oh my God.
That's the original day 4.
What the hell? Day 4, Scalish Classic Daily Diary.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that wild?
Oh, Mark Jeffries. Thought he had it frickin' day 4 was the OG. No, Darcy Egan back in 2002. This was day 4. This says 2005 on it, but it was just published on 2005 because they redid all the websites back then. There was a time where you had to take all of the documents and then populate them into a new email. So if you see the 2005, this is actually 2002, Frank's first classic. Frank Scalish has been the comeback kid on this year's Citgo Bassmaster Tour, coming from behind in the last tournament of the season to grab the final berth for the 32nd annual Citgo Bassmaster Classic. I think you've told this story before, the pressure going into that final day, knowing you were on the cut line with Earl Bentz watching and your sponsors watching and Pradco, and you just talked about what you'd been through the previous year with your family and the decision to do this 2 years prior. Yeah. And it came down to the final day of whether you were going to realize your dream, make the Bassmaster Classic, everything that came with it, the bonuses, keep your sponsors happy, and then actually go into the following year with a portfolio that would allow you to actually make a living doing this.
Yeah, it was crazy. The tournament was on Lake Eufaula in Alabama, and I needed 4 pounds something to make the Classic. And I made a run that was almost an hour away from the weigh-in because I had fish up the river on river ledges. And I had gotten up there and the wind had shifted and it killed the current up there and I could barely catch them. And I had spent way too much time up there. And I had a limit, but it was a small limit. And I needed, like I said, I thought I needed around 4 pounds or so. And we're way up this thing. And the wind shifted. And I looked at my non-boater and I'm like, oh my God. I said, I got a spot. It's almost an hour run from here. But it's a deep brush pile and it's got giants in it. And the wind will be right on it. If this wind shifts and it's true to the rest of the lake, the wind will be right on it. I said, are you a gambling guy? And he goes, I could be. I go, we're going to make a run and I can only make 2 casts. And then we got to go, but to weigh in. And he's like, let's go. So I throw everything down in the boat and I go and I'm cutting corners and I'm doing everything I can to get it to where I got to go as fast as I can. And I get up to the dam and I'm on this ledge where the brush pile is. And I'm having an issue finding it. And it's starting to freak me out because I can't find it. Like I'm in a way and I can't find it. No side imaging. It was all 2D sonar stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand. It's got to be right here. And so sure enough, I recognize the brake line and I go, there it is. I know where it is. And I had 2 10-inch worms on the deck of my boat. One of them I was structure fishing hard bottom with, had 12-pound line on it. And the one that I was flipping the deep brush piles with had 17. Inadvertently, I had grabbed the one with 12 and I launched it out there. It hits the brush pile. My line tightens up and I crack the fish and it's a giant. And I got her. I think I got 17-pound line on. I got 12 and I'm sawing her through the branches and boom, it breaks off. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I realized I grabbed the wrong one. I reached down immediately. I grabbed the other rod with the 17. I fire another cast out in the brush pile. Goes doink. I smoke the fish. I get it. I flip it in the boat. It's over 5 pounds. I reach in the live well, throw one of the little ones out. I don't even take the hook out or the lure out of the fish's mouth. I throw it in the live well, shut the lid, and we blow into the weigh-in because I would have been late. And that's how I made the Classic. That fish weighed 5.8 on the scales. And that's how I made the Classic. It was a ballsy move for 2 casts. But and so if you notice on all my pictures on Instagram, all my rods have a white piece of tape on them. And the pound test line is on that tape. That's what I did after that Classic.
All right. So the day 4 blog is after the first day. So I had to do a little bit of research and I found an article from 2002 from the Chattanoogan that had the day 1 results. 52 anglers in this field. Leading it after day 1 was Jay Yellis. He had 18 pounds. Aaron Martins, Davey Height were in the top 3. And there were only 32 limits out of the 52 anglers. You settled day 1 in 42nd place, just behind Randy Howell and Luke Clausen, who both won championships. Yeah. You want to take a guess who was in 43rd on day 1?
I have no idea.
Just take a gander. Just dream big. Who were you 1 spot ahead of after day 1 of the Classic in 2002? He likes to go by initials.
KVD?
Yeah, KVD was in 43rd.
Wow.
Yeah, 312. You had 4-3.
Man.
So dug yourself just a little bit of a hole there.
Oh, yeah.
This is what this one's about. So that's why it makes sense. Frank Scalish has been the comeback kid in this year's Sicko Bassmaster Tour, coming from behind the last tournament to grab the final spot. Now he has to do it again after stumbling on the first day of competition. The spots where I was counting on catching a few big bass just did not produce, said Scalish. I worked them hard, hoping they would give up a big fish like I caught here in practice. Scalish had to scramble late in the day to corral 4 small spotted bass that weighed just 4 pounds, 3 ounces. The first angler to weigh a fish on the Birmingham stage on Thursday afternoon, he was 42nd. So your first classic day, you're the first angler on the classic stage.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Do I remember it like it was yesterday? Listen to this shit. So they had the place where we run into, it's a marina, and they literally megaphone you, and they're like, so-and-so ramp now. And you got to go get that boat to the ramp because you're going in a line. You're going in a line. You're going to the classic venue. You are going to be like, they have this thing dialed. Well, I had pulled up to this boat dock, and there is a mother and 2 daughters that were, the daughters were probably in their 20s, and from what I could tell, the mother was probably in her late 40s, maybe ish, and they were stunning, to say the least. And I had pulled up to the dock, and they jumped in my boat, and I'm like, what? I don't think you guys could get in the boat. And they literally jumped in the boat with me, and they're taking pictures and gabbing. And then I hear from the megaphone, Scalish, out now. And I'm like, you guys got to get out of the boat. I got to go. I got to go. And I said, I said, listen, if I'm the first one out today, I'll be the last one out tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, is what I said. I don't know why I said it, but that's what I said. And so then I go and I ramp out, and we're going down there, and they're like, you're the first guy that's going to weigh in today. And I'm like, holy shit, I got no fish.
You had 3. What I have found is this is the opening to the 2002 Classic.
How do you find this stuff?
We get the rest of the story, all the details on how it happened there on Lay Lake. And I think you'll agree with me that Jay is just the man to tell us. It did begin on July 25th, Lay Lake, not too far from Birmingham, Alabama. We're talking about 10,000 plus acres of water here, but I think you'll find that even from day number 1, much of the story is concentrated on this first 3 or 4 miles south of the Logan Martin Dam, right there at the top of the lake. Aaron Martins will play a big part in today's story as well, and his pattern, chasing schooling fish.
Really primarily feeding on gizzard shad. That's what they're probably, I'd say probably 80% of their diet.
Anyway, you guys can watch that. That entire show is on YouTube under Lynn Dollar's channel.
Wow.
All right, let's.
This is wild, dude.
I'm moving and shaking over here.
Yeah, me
All
too.
Right, back to it. All right, day 4. Scalish had to scramble late in the day to corral 4 pounds 3 ounces. The first angler to weigh in a fish in Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center on the stage was 42nd. Sure, I'm disappointed, said Scalish, but I'm not ready to give up. I'll go back out there and just go fishing. I know I can catch a nice stringer of bass and move up in the standings. Media exposure made Scalish's task a little tougher on the first day after being featured in USA Today on Thursday morning and appearing on local broadcasts. He was shadowed by a dozen spectator boats on Thursday morning. I didn't expect that, he said. I'm rookie of the year, not a familiar face like Kevin Van Dam, Davey Height, or Roland Martin.
I forgot about the
USA Today
on the cover
of the sports section of USA Today. Do you have that article somewhere?
Maybe.
It's got to be in the box with the trading cards, doesn't it?
Maybe. I hope so. And the heading of it was "Failure is not an option." And I failed.
No, you didn't. You're in the Bassmaster Classic. You didn't
no,
fail.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I got up in the
guys who give a lot of anatomy. to be 42nd in the Bassmaster Classic after day one.
Dude, I got up in the morning, opened the hotel door, grabbed the newspaper out front. There was a regular local newspaper in USA Today there, and we opened USA Today, and there I am.
No way.
Full freaking page.
Like before, like that thing where the papers used to come at the door at 4 a.m. and they'd come under. And so as you're getting ready to go compete, you are on the cover of USA Today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, was it just like stomach in your throat immediately when you saw that?
Oh,
you think that changed your day at all?
No, it didn't change my day. But it was definitely surreal. I mean, it was surreal, dude. I mean, it was like I forgot up until this very minute. I forgot about the USA Today. Up until right now, this very minute, I forgot about that.
So then when you got to blast off, I mean, everyone read papers first thing in the morning back then.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. There was USA Todays all over the place. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Observer Jack Wolitz of Youngstown, Ohio. Oh, your observer the first day was also an Ohioan.
Yeah, he was a writer for the Akron Beacon Journal.
Who fishes in local tournaments around Northern Ohio, said he could feel Scalish's frustration. Shocker. Yeah. Frank had plenty of bites, but the bass were very, very difficult to hook, said Wolitz. He set the hook on a couple of fish that simply came off before he could put them in the boat. So it wasn't like they weren't there or anything. It was just they weren't eating it right. What were you throwing? Do you remember that first day? Had to be a Texas rig, didn't it?
I was throwing a shaky head. I was throwing crankbaits, which the crankbait bite killed me. It didn't pan out like it was the month earlier. I was throwing shaky heads, Carolina rigs, football jigs for the most part, and some Texas worms in some of the standing timber area.
Mm-hmm. A great point by Big Dave. First one in means that you were leading the Bassmaster Classic. True. I mean, you cannot argue that. There was a point in your life where you were leading.
2 points. The second classic I made, I was leading as well.
You have led 2 Bassmaster Classics.
I caught the first bass of the day.
But in this one, your name was on the top. It had the one next to it. You were leading the Bassmaster Classic in 2002.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Great point.
It was crazy.
Big Dave. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Scaler said let me just start that over. Scalish says a change in his game plan is in order. I don't plan to keep plugging away, hoping the fish start biting, said Scalish. I need to make changes that will put fish in the boat, and big ones. I want to be out there on the final day after the field is trimmed to the top 25. Did the day, do you remember, did it just seem like a blur?
I don't remember a lot about it right now, to be honest with you. I don't. I'm having a hard time recalling a lot of the fishing incidents in that lake for the 2002 Classic.
Yeah, because they merged, because it just so happened that in 2010 when you qualified, it was also on Lay Lake.
Yeah, and I remember that the 2002 Classic was I was a very hard fighting person about running your own boats in the Classic after that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a boat that, for whatever the reasons, couldn't get out of its own way. I think the top speed on it was only 55, 54 miles an hour. And I couldn't play the current game because I couldn't do it fast enough. And in my boat, which at the time was 70 plus, I could run back and forth all day if I had to. And this boat, I couldn't do it. So I remember like it was yesterday, I had to pick a section of the lake that I thought I could get current at least one time during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it killed me. It killed me.
So second day, This next blog is post second day. Second day ended up finishing 46, 7 pounds, 15 ounces. So you needed a big bag. Did not get it. So this is Darcy Egan's blog with you, the 5th day. The classic dream of Frank Scalish didn't crumble on Friday when the Cleveland Angler was trimmed from the 52-man field. It was just put on hold, which is true because you'd be back on that lake with another shot at it.
Yeah.
And did much better. Having a poor tournament, especially when we're competing in the Super Bowl of bass fishing, is certainly upsetting, said Scalish. Just getting to the Classic for the first time, though, is a tremendous achievement that overshadows everything. Getting the taste of the Classic has been awesome. It gives me incentive to go all out and make it again next year. Scalish caught 4 small bass on Friday. They weighed 4 pounds, 3 ounces. It pushes total weight for 2 days to 7 pounds, 15 ounces. Only the top 25 compete for the 200 grand. Scalish had a game plan entering the Classic that he thought he would catch limits of large bass. Like so many anglers in the field, he saw his hot spots dry up and a limit catch become impossible to find. None of the places where I caught big bass during the practice session last month held up, he said, shaking his head. I worked them hard and with lures that produced some exceptional fish, including a helicopter. No, I'm just kidding. I tried some new stuff like a banjo minnow and just, that's not true either. Today I tried some new stuff and just scrambled up and down the lake looking for a pattern that would work, said Scalish. I focused on the skinny parts of the river where there was a lot of current, but I couldn't hook a big one. Finding fishing room was also a problem. There were lots of local anglers out on the river and they were casting to the weed beds I wanted to fish, Frank said. I made 4 or 5 stops and found fishermen there already. You got localed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. That was the first time I ever experienced anything like that. I mean, you have to realize something. The season before I fished the Opens, the next season I fished the top 150s and made the Classic. And I didn't expect a lot of what I saw in the water. I didn't expect.
The big leagues, there were a bunch of guys that were out to say, hey, it's the Bassmaster Classic, and I want to go out and be able to tell my buddies at the bar that night that, well, I had a 15-pound limit that same day. I would have won the Classic if I was in it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And the thing is, it's like this, they have every right to be there and they have every right to fish if they so choose, right?
Yeah.
But would I go to your office and delete your computer and burn your file cabinets?
You gotta be careful with that. Chris Zaldane asked that question a couple years ago, and he's been mercilessly heckled ever since that. He asked it to someone on the water, though. And then
I did the same thing to a guy on Santee Cooper. But yeah, I mean, I get it.
Just a little courtesy, an angler to angler courtesy.
Yeah, I get all
you were asking for.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah. I think it's a little different on fisheries. Like if you go up to Thousand Islands or you go to Champlain or you go to fisheries, like even a Kentucky Lake or Gunnersville, somewhere where like, here's what I feel for like guys who do like annual trips or clubs who every third week of March go to Toledo Bend for the last 30 years with the same guys and they stay in the same place and they've had it booked for a year. And then Bassmaster comes out with the schedule and now they're on the lake at the same time as them.
Right.
Like, just be smart about it. Go out, have fun, catch your fish, watch a few guys fish when there's no one around. Don't fish spots because there's tournament anglers that are there. Just go do your thing. Like 100%. Stay on the water. It's a public body of water. You can do whatever. It's the guys who are out to prove something by quote competing against the tournament anglers in their own head. That I think is where a lot of the problems arise. Well,
it does. Like I was on Gunnersville in one Bassmaster event and I pulled up to this structural element and I put a clinic on and I had about 10 spectators with me and I put the clinic on, dude. The next morning I ran back there first thing in the morning and 6 of them guys were already on it, smashing on them. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's that.
The bass this is also very interesting. These are live scope fish. The bass I was targeting were suspended under big schools of shad. As hard as I tried, I just could not get them to bite.
Yep.
Jighead minnow fish.
Yep. Oh,
like,
dude.
Without a doubt in your mind. Now, everyone else would have had it too, and it would have turned into an offshore jighead minnow on schooling fish. But even back then, those were some of the toughest fish to catch.
Oh, yeah. Dude. Man, I was pretty good at suspended fish on my 2D sonar back then. Spoons and crankbaits, I could, like my Norman crankbaits, I knew exactly how deep they would dive. And so when I would see it where the fish were suspending, I would back off of them. And then I would throw my Normans there to keep them swimming just above the heads of those fish. And like I said, it was a different game a month earlier. It was a different ball game. And yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, golly, man, can you imagine if you had live scope back then? That tournament would have been a whole different venue for a lot of different people.
This is just like a random picture that I pulled up, but basically you're looking at stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Except more so, except the depth was.
Yeah, way deeper. But I'm just saying, but bait ball, fish underneath, fish up on the top of the bait ball. You're trying to figure out how to catch them. You're not seeing where they're swimming. You're talking about a scrolling 2D screen that you're reading the first quarter inches of the right-hand side, and then everything gets elongated. They're spotted bass and largemouth that are moving through busting shad. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, it was so crazy.
So I would assume when you were there in pre-practice, those bait balls weren't there, and those fish were relating more so to the structure. The bait moved through later in the year, current, whatever, water temp, and then those fish pulled off of the structure, so you knew they were in the area, which caused you to stay in the area to try to relocate them and find them. And then all of a sudden it's noon, and then you're in the Bassmaster Classic, and you're on the cover of the USA Today, and it's your first Classic. Earl Bentz is talking good about you, and it's your wife's first tournament that you've ever been there, and now it's 1 o'clock, and you got the sports writer from your hometown in the boat that's saying, it's okay, Frankie got it, and you're in there, and then you've got locals that are sitting on all the stuff you want to fish, and the next thing you know, boom, it's over.
Oh, it's over faster than shit. Yeah, that was the July-August transition I was talking about. There's a point in time in August where the bass get off the structure and start getting on the bait. And that occurred right then and there. And that's what killed me. And I didn't have enough current to keep them. I didn't have enough current to keep the bass on the structure where I was at. And so they just floated underneath all them balls of bait.
And that was quitters with live scope.
What's that?
One hitter quitters with scope.
Yeah.
Classic week isn't over for Scalish. Scalish and his wife Rachel will watch the weigh-in on the final day. I highly doubt you watch the weigh-in on the final day. Scalish and his wife Rachel will watch the weigh-in on the final day and take in the extravagant Classic show. It is not only the first time that Rachel Scalish has been in the Classic, the first time she's attended the tournament. Scalish will also go back to work. He has scheduled appearances in the exhibition for his sponsors, the Classic Outdoor Expo show, signing autographs and talking bass fishing. The Classic is the greatest show on earth. He said, I'm delighted to have been a part of it and cannot wait to do it again.
Oh, yeah. 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 It was cool. That was my first one, man.
There's one more part to this.
There is.
Frank Scalish will rush home to Cleveland on Sunday to celebrate Day 6 Scalish Classic Daily Diary. The Sitco Bassmaster Classic Tour Rookie of the Year will forget about bass fishing for a day or two after finishing 46 in his first Classic. Scalish and his wife Rachel got a lot of PR in these 6 days.
Yeah, she did good, man.
Are anxious to arrive home and celebrate the 3rd birthday of their daughter Rosie.
Yeah.
Classic week was one of the greatest weeks of my life, said Scalish. It ranks only, well, this is well said. It ranks only behind my marriage to Rachel and the birth of my children. It was everything I expected and more. Next week, however, it will be back to the business of fishing. I'm already scheduling media and sponsor-related activities. I've scheduled photo shoots, fishing trips with radios and newspaper folks, and negotiations with some sponsors. Is this the start of like OSI, or is this way before that, 2002?
This is OSI came on board after that. I was actually headed to, going to New York to fish. And I told Rachel, this is the last tournament we could do. I can't spend the money. We don't have it.
Yeah. Wow.
And then shit, dude, I was driving down there. I didn't get down my street. And OSI, an ad agency, called me. And I thought it was a buddy of mine's wife calling me to figure out how to get sponsors for him. And I'm like, I don't have time for this crap. I'm not calling her. And so I didn't call her back. And I got down the end of my street and I'm like, if I don't call her back, then I'm going to be the biggest D-bag that ever lived.
Yeah.
I got to call her back. And I called the number and it was, and they answered the phone, Liggett Stash Hour Advertising. And my heart almost jumped out of my mouth. And I said, this is Frank. Is so-and-so there? And they go, yeah, hold on. And so she's like, hey, we have a big customer of ours that wants to sponsor you in Bassmasters. And, we'd like to meet with you. And I said, okay, I'm going to New York. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I got a tournament up there. I'm leaving now. I'll be back in 2 weeks. And they go, no, you don't understand. We need to see you now. And I'm like,
okay.
I spun around, backed up the driveway, unhooked the boat, ran inside, put a suit and tie on, and drove to the ad agency.
Same suit and tie. It's in the thumbnail here that you wore to the Hall of Fame.
No. I had Italian suits from Italy back then.
Of course, yeah. Classic qualifier. I'm already scheduling media sponsor related activities, fishing trips with the radio newspaper folks, negotiations in 2 weeks. My mind will be back on bass fishing tournaments. I'll head to Lake Murray in South Carolina to start practice for the Bassmaster Open. Scalish will not have any trouble remembering his inaugural classic, a wealth of newspaper clippings about his classic adventure, including a major feature in USA Today will find their way into a scrapbook. His brother, Johnny, a videographer, or his brother-in-law, Johnny, a videographer from New York City, followed Scalish as he prepared for the Classic and throughout Classic Week, filming the experience. He interviewed Scalish's friends and caught him in action on the water as he appeared at sponsor and exhibit booths. Johnny shot more than 30 hours of tape, said Scalish, amused at the project. It will probably take him a year to edit her all down. There were not that many surprises at the Classic. The fishing was as difficult as I expected it to be, and I knew this field would be tough. I worked hard, and I did my best. I was overwhelmed with how my major sponsors, Triton and Pradco, really stepped up to the plate to help me excel in this Classic. Their support throughout this week was outstanding. What was a revelation, said Scalish, was how much I enjoyed the experience. The Classic Week events were great, and the competition was exceptional. It gave me the motivation to get back here again.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. This is a tough day 4, man.
Yeah, I honestly had no idea what was in here. Like, I'm reading it for the first time, and I literally perused it. I clicked kind of on the first one a little bit, and I know you had talked about that story of bringing Rachel to that first tournament. You've told that story about how, boom, it was impressive. I had no idea what was in the other 6 days. Hopefully you're cool with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dude, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. It's not a, hey, here's how Frank finished 42nd or 3rd in the Classic. Dude, this is freaking badass.
Yeah,
2002, there's no other angler that has this. Like, you know how lucky you are to have this?
Oh yeah. And here, I mean, you know, we talk a lot about how to catch a fish and on this show, because that's what we do on day 4. There's more to tournament bass angling than catching a fish, and a lot of it has to do with sponsor and, you know, how you handle your media and everything else. And you have to remember, back then, all we had was print, radio, and TV if we were fortunate enough to get it. And so to come out as a rookie and command that kind of exposure was pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like if you go on Lynn Dollar's YouTube and watch that, you might have, not you, but listeners. I mean, feel free to watch that, Frank. I don't think that's probably on your top bucket list of things to do right now, but I think there's a lot of day 4 listeners who will enjoy that watch.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And that's kind of just inside the mind. And so as you see these guys go across the stage next week at the Bassmaster Classic, and you go to the expo and the stories unfold, this is kind of what's behind the scenes, family wise, sponsor wise, personal life wise, achievement wise. Like there's just kind of like the human experience all wrapped up into one. And granted, there's bigger things in life. It's definitely a first world sport, first world problems when you don't catch them in the Classic. But one of the things that I always do was on that final day, I sit in the very top rafters. Well, now I'll sit there with my wife, but I've always sat there by myself. I've told this story before, and you just watch it unfold because kind of being in the industry, knowing a lot of these guys personally, you kind of know what it's like behind the scenes, and you don't get many opportunities in life to watch people live out their dreams in person and understand what goes on behind it. And this Classic week is one of those opportunities.
Yeah, it's very amazing. It is a massive commitment, and the ups and downs are even more exaggerated. As exciting as it was to make my first Classic, okay, as exciting as it was, and as amped up as I was to been down there, the drive home was the most brutal thing on earth, because when it's over, it's over. Everything builds. Your whole year builds. Whether you're in the opens trying to make the elites, it builds. When you get into the elites and you try to make the Classic, it builds. And then when you go to the Classic, you're at the top of the top of the top. And then when it's over, it's just over. There's nothing left. It's over, and you have to start from the beginning again. That was one of the hardest, aside from the day that I stopped Bassmasters tournament angling. That was one of the hardest moments in my bass fishing history to deal with, was the incredible high, and then immediately the next day, the incredible low. That was the hardest thing to deal with. When I stopped fishing Bassmasters, it was the same exact feeling. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how that was going to affect me. Because I didn't want to stop fishing the tournament trail. I didn't have a choice, sponsor-wise. And I could have done it for the money they were going to pay me, but it would have put us back where we were when we started. And with 4 kids and all the responsibilities, I couldn't take that chance. And so I made that decision, and it was horrible, because I made another Classic that year, and the Classic ended, and 4 tournaments later, so did my bass fishing tournament career. And so I didn't know where it was going to go. I did none of this. I didn't know any of this. This was all brand new to me. Didn't know this was going to happen. Didn't know the lure design and all the stuff with Pradco was going to happen. Knew none of it, because before I made my second Classic, the old guard at Pradco, they had let me go. And so they weren't even a sponsor of mine. And I continued to design stuff for them, but, on a small royalty basis, just because I wanted to keep my hands in the industry in some capacity. And then, hands changed, people changed, one thing led to another, and then here we are today. And who knew? I mean, who knew? But if I never took the first chance to try to make it in this industry, none of this would have materialized. And so you don't know. There's a bigger plan out there for us. We don't know what it is, and we don't know the time frame it's going to be on. All you could do is try to be the best you can, and take opportunities when you have opportunities, and that's it.
I am really going through everything that I can find to try to find this USA Today article.
Yeah, I don't know.
July 2002.
It's got to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has to be there. I don't know what else to say. All I know is that I was just like, what? What? I have it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I'm sure I have it.
You said you remember the title of it?
Yeah, it was called Failure is Not an Option, I believe. Maybe. It's crazy. If you find that, I will be so surprised. That was so pre-computers and pre.
Yeah, but they have to have like archives on this somewhere.
That's insane.
We'll find it. Maybe one of our.
We'll find it, or maybe I'll find it. I don't know if I'll find it.
Yeah, Chuck's saying that the USA Today was regionalized, so there were sections of it that might have been just for that region of the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would assume, since I was in Alabama,
that it was probably regionalized for Alabama. Although the distribution they said that thing got was more than Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been like 10 or 15 states.
Yeah, it was huge. The exposure I got down there was monumental, which probably led to my OSI sponsorship, to be honest with you.
God, that's cool.
Yeah, it was amazing, man.
I can't find it. Maybe someone can find it.
I'll look at home and see if I got the dang thing.
You want to talk about top classic memories? You remember what happened a couple years ago at the Classic, right? You were introduced to cheese curds.
Yeah.
It's probably the second best thing that's ever happened to you from the class.
I swear to God, I never ate them just because all I could think of was curdled cheese. And I'm like, who eats this shit? I would never put that in my mouth.
A great question by Cam. Did the girls show back up on the day 2 weigh-in?
Oh, yeah. So, oh my God. Yeah. So here we go. So it's sweltering hot out. I'm going to be the last freaking boat out of this lake. I slide up to the dock, and I am not lying to you. They are literally wearing the smallest bikinis known to human life.
Oh, boy.
Including the mother. And I pull up to the dock, and they're like, Frank. And they come running down the dock, and all three of them jump in my boat.
Again.
So I shove the boat off the dock. Okay. So now they're in the boat and they can't get off unless I pull back up to the dock. Right. So all the guys are coming in to weigh in.
And it's like Rachel on the dock going.
No, she's at the show. She might've been there. I don't know. She might've been there. So all the guys are coming in and I've got these three bombshells in the boat with me, and they're like, I'm sitting in the driver's seat. One of them is sitting next to me in the hole of the seats, and the other one's sitting on the other seat, and the other one's sitting directly across from me. And these guys are coming in and breaking their necks, turning around, just looking. It was so
you look like Brad Wall back in the day when he had the Hooter sponsorship.
Oh yeah, it was crazy, and it was fun. That was fun. That was a good time. But yeah, my second Classic was. Well, I partied my ass off in the first one too, but my second one, I went to that second one, and it was a lot different. We didn't have that itinerary. We only had a couple of things we had to do, so we were free. The first one, holy smokes, you had everywhere to be every single minute. You had no time for nothing. The second one was much different. We got to use our own boats. We were free except for a couple of autograph stuff and some media stuff, and the dinner. You were pretty much free. And Rachel and I had a blast at the second one. We partied so hard it was stupid. Stupid. Like, it was, for what that event is, we should have never had late nights like that every night, because it was like I was sleeping an hour and a half and then had to get up and go.
I thought I found it.
But it was really spectacular.
Thought I'd found it. Did not.
Oh man, alive. Matt, you're out of your mind, bro. That is so much fun.
All right, let's put the sponsor. Let's put the sponsor marketing to the test one more time. What dropped this morning, Frank?
Purple Heart, Super Zara Spook. There it is.
There it is. Limited edition.
Those photos were good, man.
Yeah. Is it? There's a. How do I approach this? I'll just flat out say it. That bait is named after like a famous prostitute. The Zara Spook?
No, so
have you seen that thing going around on Instagram? I don't know how delicate or how true that is or whatever, but I've had a bunch of people said this to me. It's going around the fishing Instagram stuff, like a street name and stuff.
Yeah,
like
there's a street name called Zaragoza in some town somewhere. Okay. I think that's mere coincidence.
That's what I thought. So I think someone just did that to try to get views on it.
It's mere coincidence. But here's what I will tell you. I know how the name Spook came about. So back in the day, the Zara was made out of wood.
Okay.
When they transitioned to plastic, the bait was clear, clear, transparent plastic. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
it looked like a ghost.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
It was transparent and clear. So
that's exactly right. So to differentiate between the wooden one and the plastic one was called the Zara Spook and the other one was called the Zara.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's actually true. I don't know if Zaragoza Street had anything to do with anything, but
okay.
But now you know why they call it.
Why they call it the name. Yeah. It's interesting though, the lure different names. There's a lot of weird stuff behind that. So no, I think you hit a home run out of that. That's available. That'll probably be gone.
Yeah, you better get
them in 24 hours.
You want a couple of them.
I did not think, I'm not going to lie, Frank, I did not think you were going to sell out of the spinning image.
Oh yeah, dude.
And you did.
Yeah, thank God. I mean,
you launched that in the dead nuts of winter.
Dude, we had 18 inches of ice when that thing
Now
broke.
It's getting warmer. There's parts of the country, you got 60-degree water down here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard. We try to keep baits that are current, but it's very difficult.
This is very current.
Yeah, but it's difficult because what happens is, one part of the country, like you can't even use Florida for an example because you could throw topwaters all year in Florida. Doesn't matter.
A guy who only threw a devil's horse for like 30 years. It was literally the only bait he ever threw. I know Bassmaster did some stuff.
Yes.
Post-front, pre-front, winter spawn, summer, fall, whatever. He had 3 boxes of devil's horses that he tricked out, and that I think he might have passed by now. He was an older gentleman, but maybe if he's not, then I'm sure he's out there still throwing a devil's horse on Okeechobee. But I just remember that as younger. It was the only bait he threw for like decades.
Yes. So here's a crazy story about the devil's horse. So I hooked up with a co-angler one of the very, very, very first times I ever went to Florida. He knew, I think, that guy. Okay. He showed me how to trick the thing out. And so I did. And it's legit. Like, it's legit. So maybe one day I'll show you guys on the show how to trick it out. But it's legit. I mean, that, and for whatever the reason, you almost can't beat that bait down south in Florida. And I don't know why. I don't know if the body shape resembles the pinfish they got down there. I don't know what it is, but I catch them up here on the devil's horse and the crazy shad. I catch them up here like mad on them, especially during the pre-spawn and spawn. And so I don't know, but in Florida, you could throw them year round all the time and catch fish on them. And I just think it's because of the makeup of the fishery and the bait fish they have in there that it works.
That was fantastic. Drive safe. I'll see you Friday evening.
Yeah, man.
Are you going out? Do you have dinner plans Friday night after our appearance?
I do not believe I do.
We'll work on
wait a minute.
Remember last year we went to that deal at Fort Worth where we had the dude with the fire and the bone-in ribeye that he cut at the table and blackened it right there.
Yeah, that was supposed to change my take on steak for the rest of my life. And it was very cool experience, but I could cook a steak anywhere and make it taste like that.
Okay, we'll have to figure out something. And
do you agree or disagree?
I thought, okay, so I believe I'm a steak connoisseur. I'd like to fancy myself.
I think you are.
It's kind of like fishing a new lake. Like you've got your standards, you know what's up. You can cook your own steak. You know how to do it. You know the ins and outs. That's like your Wednesday night jackpot lake, blah, blah, blah. Every once in a while, you'll catch a giant out of it where you'll just get like the right marbling or a good cut on a strip or something like that. But you have to venture out. And sometimes, you know, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. And I'm not talking weekly. I'm talking like once every 3 months, 4 times a year. You know, there's these nice steakhouses.
I agree.
And you don't look at it like food or nourishment. You look at it as an experience. So it's the same thing you would do instead of like going to a sporting event or going to a concert. You take your wife, your girlfriend, significant other, whatever, and you know you're going to drop a couple $100.
Yeah, I agree.
And sometimes it's a 10 out of 10, and sometimes you go there and you don't catch anything. And you're like, okay, we're not going back there. I think to me, so far, it's been about a 50-50. There's some places where you're just like, oh my God. But I try to keep it consistent. Like you always try like the twice baked potato and the Brussels sprouts or the mac and cheese. But I always try to keep it on either like a strip or their signature ribeye cooked the same way. And then you kind of get a feel for it. I thought that place, Toro is where we went. I thought that place was one of the better ones, like really good. I wouldn't put it as like a high-end white table, but it's also not like it
wasn't bad.
Not like a Longhorn. I mean, it's like, you're spending a little bit of money when you go in there.
It wasn't bad. Not at all. The thing, what I was saying was I just had something in my mind where I expected this to be like when you bit into that steak, you were never going to want another one except for that one again.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a very good steak. Like I would go back for it, but it wasn't like top 3 of my life.
Yeah, I would.
But it was really good.
I would not say no to it.
Yeah, I would definitely go back to it.
Yeah. 100%.
But I mean, I think that one steak, we split it between like 4 people.
Oh, it was gigantic. It was like Fred Flintstone steak.
Yeah. And then there's one of those where they cut it right there, boom, threw the salt on it. They blackened it like on a just right in front, flames going everywhere.
Oh yeah, it was good, man. It was on and over, man. God, yeah. It was good.
Well, we might have to
we'll find
a locale.
We'll find one. If we don't, I know someone who will know. And you do too.
All right, Frank, a little trip down memory lane, a little bit of learning experience in there for those of you who think that Frank just bloviates with his stories. I believe that this verifies everything and anything you have ever said on day 4. If anything, you have undersold some of your stories, Frank.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you know, I guess so.
Like right now, I feel like if someone called Frank and said, title spots are 2027 Bassmaster Open division, we got it all. You and Frankie, one more ride. Like right now, in this little 10-minute stretch right now, I think you'd have a hard time saying no.
Probably.
But the money would have to be right.
It would have to be really, really right.
All right, this has been another edition of Day 4. No Day 4 next week. That's because in person at the Bassmaster Classic.
We will be there. You guys got to come and see us.
March 13th, 4 to 5:30 p.m. at the Classic Expo. At the Pradco booth, Saturday, March 14th, 1:30 to 3. First 25 people in line get a limited edition BTL koozie. And then he's splitting it into 2. mystery bait from the archives, the lure net. You guys are going to be pumped if you're there. We're going to pull like we did the last 3 years. We'll pull 5 back to give to listeners of BTL Day 4 who are not able to be at the Classic. But if you're at the Classic, be in line, stay early. Other baits, 8x10 photos, anything that you would like Frank to autograph.
I will have
wife, whatever you want him to autograph. Frank will be there with a plethora of different Sharpie.
I did autograph a female at my first Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was proud to have it autographed.
On that note,
we
will talk to everyone later. See ya.
See you guys.